happy after some technical difficulties.
Speaking of technical difficulties, the controller's not working again.
With it, and it's like Schrodinger's truck. It is and it isn't at the same time, simultaneously.
Yeah, both tipped and standing upright at once.
We trucked for 3 hours over the weekend straight, and all we figured out was that we don't know what we're doing, regardless of what platform we operate. All of us at the same time are equally incompetent. It's kind of magical.
It is. So here we are, another Metal Gear Monday, doing our game journalist playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 5.
I'm wondering by what methodology the Carl Gustav is attached to you.
It floats.
We all float down here.
That is floating. Alright.
Ah.
Now, I want to say... Oh, yeah. Tab for map. His favorite map.
It's like F for finoculars or Farsi, And I'm just wondering, like, okay, I think they probably would ignore a single oil platform. I think that they would ignore a single oil platform somewhere. I think they would. I think they would ignore it.
Yeah.
But when you have like a spider of oil platforms, just kind of connected willy-nilly everywhere, I think they would notice. I think they would go, what in the cinnamon toast fuck is going on here?
When you have to put so much distance between the various platforms that you have to stage vehicles to drive around.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand if maybe the spaces between the platforms are there for safety or security, or, you had like helicopter pads in between or other such reasons.
Yeah.
But I don't see any of that. This just seems to be, and I quote, because.
I hate the way these things drive.
It's almost like vehicles were an afterthought, what with the motion blur wheels and whatnot.
The oil spider.
The oil spider! Dare you oppose the oil spider? And Polish asked, did we beat 4 already? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we beat 4.
Hey,
We
did you guys
watched.
know we've been doing this like 17 months already?
We have been playing Metal Gear for 17 months, and you know what? We've gotten through most of it, amazingly enough. So if you ever wanted to know what it was like if you sat down with a friend, Depp, I'm calling you a friend so you can have your blush moment. But uncomfortable emotions. But the thing is that if you sit here long enough and do your thing, and you just want to know how long it takes to play through a whole series and shipping at it with a friend, 17 months is about what it takes for this game series. That's including way too many cutscenes. Now, can you vault him over the rail for his training? Can you like chuck him over the rail and he'll be like, "Thank you, boss. I'm an inch shorter and my legs will make noise forever." Like, I'm just,
Nope,
you
doesn't
know,
appear so.
it appears that the safety rail is indeed safe. So we figured that out. 17 months of Kojima. That's a really bad way of putting it. I don't even know what a hype train is on the Twitch. I've never understood that. I've never understood that at all. Hey, you're not allowed to call me a friend. Not unless you're in voice. Then you have to say, my friend, I am your friend. You have to say it
You
3
could
times
drop
or it's
people
not
off,
true.
but then the morale drops.
You know, I prefer to think of this as just human resources allocation, really. You know? But you have to say friend 3 times or it's not true. Oh, Polish says, please play Revengeance after this. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of other things I would rather do, like recreate the Demon Core experiment, drink mouthwash as my only beverage for a day, polish my eyes with a scalpel, like
Give them a good
use
scrape.
yeah, just use toothpaste as toilet paper. Yeah, there's that's I don't even know what Revengeance is. I've only ever seen screenshots of it, and I'm convinced no one actually likes it. It's just one of those things where that whole hipster ironic movement of intentionally ironic, like I wear glasses without lenses in them ironic. I wear unnecessary layers of like scarves and clothing ironic. I believe that is that Metal Gear Solid is. It's like you don't get it. It's supposed to be bad. And I'm like, kid. I hate to say kid, but it comes down to a certain point where you only have so many years left, right? And you realize it. Believe it or not, in about 20 days, I'm going to turn 39, right? And you realize you have only so many years left. And I just ask myself, why would I play this if I don't enjoy it? Like, you could go to Applebee's, but you don't have to. You could go to Ruth's Chris, but you shouldn't. You just really shouldn't. Speaking of, you know how I had the Ruth's Chris experience, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I had the Ruth's Chris experience, which was like a whole rant that got turned on the podcast into a short video from our friend Thorax, or Remove Pants Fight Monsters. Put that there. And remember, guys, check around your house for loose conflict diamonds. You might have 1 or 2 or 3 or 5
Yeah.
loose conflict diamonds just laying around.
I would have
Just laying
figured that all
around.
these guys on patrol with rifles would pick those up and add them to the kill, but
They think it's a test. They're like, "Oh, those diamonds are for the boss." It's like they think it's the boss's Easter egg hunt. You know, they're like, "Better not take those. He likes them. He likes picking them up." But so I had this
was
Ruth's
wrong,
Chris experience that was terrible, and within I think it was within a week of us explaining that we hate Ruth's Chris and it is terrible and it is not good and we don't like it. Someone posted a review of Ruth's Chris, and I would like to, if possible, read a part of it.
yeah, go ahead.
I really would. All right, because I want you to have a moment. Now, you work in law enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
and law enforcement is famously massively underpaid. You know, It is massively underpaid law enforcement. You are not paid enough. Emergency services workers are not paid enough. Teachers are not paid enough. There, I said it. But you probably have one very fancy dinner a year, right? You probably choose a place that you know is not going to disappoint. And you choose a place that is going to be a warm memory of dinner that you will go, man, that was a good time, right?
It's
All right,
probably
I
been
do.
years.
Same here. So here we go. I'm going to read the title. I'm going to read the title of this article. Are you ready? Are you ready for me to drop this on you?
Yes.
Because it's infuriating. My family of 4 went to Ruth's Chris for the first time, comma, and our $500 meal at the upscale steak chain felt like a true value. So, that is the statement they make. And they go through the whole thing and talk about how nice everything is, how the little like wedge of you know those little wedge salads that are usually like free when you order a steak, you know?
Yeah.
Well, at Ruth's Chris, they're $14. And
Nice.
so, yeah, the dip, the appetizer dip is about 20. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And so I'm looking through the article, and it says that, let's see, $58 steak that's the size of a square of single ply. Where is the statement? Because they said it was $500. I'm trying to find the line that Mike found that made us both laugh until our sides hurt. But they said that the dinner was like, oh yeah. So the article said, and I quote, it cost $500 and I think it was well worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading the closing paragraphs here. For myself, my husband, and our 2 teens, the bill at Ruth's Chris added up to $497 before tip. Ruth's Chris, tip $3. Thank you, ma'am, for your article.
Good lord.
There are days where I think that I don't care as much as I should. But I ain't that lady. There's evil and there's evil. So Ruth's Chris is a steakhouse that has delusions of adequacy. And it started off as the Chris Steakhouse. And this lady named Ruth owned one. And then when she reincorporated it, she had to choose a name. And she just said Ruth's Chris to differentiate. And it became that. Over time, it became this extravagantly overpriced steakhouse. It's now owned by Darden Restaurants, so it's the Olive Garden of steakhouses now. Ruth's Chris is a ripoff. So you say, man, I'm going to order a steak. Steaks are like $50 to $90. They do not come with sides. So if you want asparagus is $20. You want a salad's $20. It comes with no sides. Now, if you gave me a menu to a restaurant and you said, choose anything you want, and I looked at the menu and I saw that a steak was $50, I would feel, honestly and earnestly, I would feel that it is my moral duty to advise you not to eat there if it is $50 to $70 for a steak. Because I could go to Outback and I could get a bloomin' onion and all the other stuff that will kill me all the sooner for a lot less money.
Yeah.
Yeah, go look up the Ruth's Chris menu, and when you see their prices, you will say, what in the shit? And you will be right. That is the terrible answer. It's awful. You know, what's also funny is I once had career day in high school. Did you ever have career day in high school?
No.
No? Excellent. Excellent. You didn't miss out on anything. When I had career day in high
I
school,
think they gave up on this.
It's typically a bad idea because they should have called it Burnout Day. Hello, Mr. Train. Thank you. They should have called it Burnout Day because we had this guy who came in who was a chef, and for 20 minutes he went on an angry fucking tirade about how he was the guy who invented the blooming onion and how they stole it from him. And he went into the I just raised my hand as a high schooler. I didn't know everything about the world then, and I certainly don't now.
Yeah.
But I raised my hand as a high schooler. And I said, "Sir, are you implying that you're the person who invented frying onions?" Like, I just needed to hear that. And he looked at me with like daggers in his fucking eyes, and he was like, "In that way, yes."
All right.
So whatever you do in this world, no matter how important or unimportant you think you are, I don't think any of you are doing as poorly as the man who wants to claim that he invented frying onions to a bunch of high school kids. Yeah, he was definitely about Big Outback. He was like, "Big Outback, they control everything," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure they're like Comstar, you know." They black bag you for speaking about things you shouldn't order.
I'm trying to remember what platform Wyatt is on. He's on not medical. It's medical's where you go to have hallucinations of the kid that blew up in Zeros.
Man, they should just call that the trip platform. The guilt trip platform.
Um, for medical reasons, that was a joke.
Oh god. I had an idea for a bar. A bar I could operate. Okay. I have an idea for a bar and I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear? Would you like to hear? It's really simple. There's two lines, right? One says whiskey and one says beer. And there's a sign that says $4, right? So someone's like, "What kind of whiskey you have?" And you just point at the sign that says $4 for whiskey. And if they give you $4, you pour one shot. That's it. The other line has beer, right? The other line has beer, and in the middle, complimentary curly fries. That's it.
Okay.
Lots of salt, though. Lots of salt. So you can have a beer for $4, or you can have a shot for $4. If people ask why or what or where it's from, you point at the sign. It's $4. Shut up. I think that would work well. Minimal training of staff required.
Hard to overpour when all you've got's a shot glass.
Yeah, it's like, oh man. Now, see, you could also have $2 whiskey, which is all the overpours that run off in a slot, you know? So they're like, oh, yes, it has an added mahogany finish. Oh, man.
So it's not medical platform.
All you need, yeah, Thrill House, all you need to do is tap the sign. All you need to do is tap the sign and just go, you know what? Don't make me tap the sign. All you need is a little bit of mahogany.
Let's sit down on the fucking helmet.
Why do you want to talk with Quiet? Is it necessary? She's not going to say much. She's just going to slink around.
Well, it unlocks her as a sniper.
Right. Which I suppose gives you a friend, you know. It gives you a
as much
you a
fun as
pal.
a dog is. She can shoot people.
What if the dog could shoot people? Like it had a gun in its mouth? Like the dog has a Browning high power and just runs around and it's like every
Give
time
it
it
a
barks.
knife.
I saw that. Let's not do that because that just seems like you know how dogs shake their head back and forth when they're playing?
Yes.
I think that would be dangerous. You'd be like, "Give me the knife," and then you're stabbed 12 times.
Give me the knife.
think-
It runs in the opposite direction.
It just runs off and finds a mine. What you should have is, instead of a dog, you should have like a whole bunch of like those mechanical dogs, you know, the ones that, like, you know, go bark bark and crawl forward and then do the flip.
Oh
You know what I'm
yeah, yeah.
talking about? Yeah, yeah. You should have those, but instead of the flip part, it just triggers them on 90 inside of it. So you have this little, you know, dog you put on the road and it goes bark bark and
Anything
just
with a
crawls
Mon
forward.
90 inside is not little.
Okay, so you're gonna have to get a plus size one. They're like, what is this toy? And then it explodes and it's like a mushroom cloud. It'd be good times. Oh man.
You know, if I had a wolf jump on me, I don't know that my reaction would be giggling.
Yeah, I think if I had a wolf jump on me, my reaction would be, why does this wolf have a fucking eye patch? Is this Star Fox or what? And secondly, I'd be like, stab. I'm sorry, but no. Wolves are not pets for a reason.
Yeah,
It's kind of like those
the
people you see who
wolves
have, yeah.
that can be pets are the ones we turn into dogs. Just generally.
It's not only that, it's like where you see online, someone will be like, oh yeah, I have exotic animals, and like in their backyard they have basically a Jurassic Park enclosure, and they're like, here's my 8 lions that I have in 12 square feet, and you're like, one of these days they are all going to descend on you like the wrath of God.
Yeah. Alright, so it's not the Intel platform. What fucking platform's she at?
Just run around in that little panic style you do. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to watch. I mean, you just run around and you look like you have to poop.
I am going to waste as much fucking JP8 as I can. Flying between platforms. I missed. Looking for this fucking person.
So the one and
could you
only laughing
imagine-
man. What? Go ahead.
Can you imagine fucking up so bad your boss is searching for you with the helicopter?
Yes, but the one and only laughing man says, my neighbor claimed you can train a tiger, and I was gonna ask, like, does he still have all of his fingers, or is he still alive? Like, is this
Yeah.
the guy with like an eye patch and a huge gouge scar in the side of his face? And he's like, you can train a tiger. You're
No.
like, really?
You know, no amount of positive reinforcement is gonna make a tiger jump through a ring of fire.
No, no.
So yeah,
They-
anybody
they-
that's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, you can train a tiger, I'm immediately mistrustful of their methods.
You know, I remember a guy who told me that he had been trying to train his dog to be a great deal less energetic. And this was a dog that barked so much it went hoarse. Like it barked until it sounded like Tom Waits. It was bark gravelly. It did
Ugh.
not sound well.
Okay.
And this was a dog that if it sat still in a room long enough, it would run up the walls. It would run up the walls and do a flip off the wall. It would just do-doon, 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 and you're like, this
Yeah,
isn't
we're
good.
into a cutscene. I think this is it.
Oh, god damn it. I think it'd be funny if you went into the medical thing and the doctor put you under an x-ray and then all of a sudden Snake just starts drilling and he's like, oh right, you have all that metal in there.
Alright, we're gonna have to do an MRI to see where the shrapnel's at. The fuck is that?
That's a good question. I think the guy just gets out the calipers and goes, you have this many metal in you. This much. Not less, not more, but this many. An enormous amount. You have too much metal in your brain.
Yeah,
You're
truly,
not
truly just a metric fuck ton of metal.
one metal in brain, too many. Like, I don't get what they're trying to suggest. Like, that shrapnel stops when it hits your skull? Like, your skull is strong enough to stop it? Because it ain't. I don't think metal suddenly slows down that much.
That was nice.
It, well, uh, looks like you discovered that Snake is not immune to gravity.
Think
Legs
he ever
and
confuses
torso.
his eye patch for the dogs? Yes, I think he does.
He just has, like, I have fleas. Dencon points out. Perfect 5-point landing.
Alright, so I guess she's not on this platform. What the fuck is she?
But it showed an animation when you came in and stuff.
Yeah, I think it was just bored of me switching platforms.
Oh, so it's just trying to show you hashtag content.
This is the first time I've flown to this helipad, maybe? Which also sounds like hashtag content.
Yeah.
Alright, fuck it.
You
I'll
can-
deal with that later.
I'm sure she'll show up at some point.
No,
She'll
if
be
you
like,
never get her out of jail, she never shows up.
oh. Well, the more you know. Just run in circles. That's what we do here.
You know, if you were just a trooper on patrol and you walk up to the helipad on the roof and saw your 50-something-year-old best soldier in the world boss just running in circles around the dog, waiting for the helicopter that's playing a 20s cover of Britney Spears to show up.
I think I would realize that by involving myself further in that entanglement, I would become one of the many who had their face put into walls. You know, I realize I would become one of those people. I would become face wall guy. Nobody needs to become face wall guy. That's really not. Yeah, it's not good.
That's fair. Oh no, fog in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, that ocean fog out by the Seychelles. Seychelles, notoriously foggy area.
Yeah,
notoriously.
they call it foggy bottom, foggy top.
Foggy top Seychelles. Ships get lost there all the time. All the time.
They smack into my oil derricks. You gotta scrape them off with like a spatula. It's John Carpenter's The Fog.
John Carpenter, Fogman.
Yeah,
The
don't
Fog.
forget these troopers are generally conscripted by means of KO by circle running box and forcible ejection via full. Well, yes. Which reminds me, a network error has occurred. Oh no, egads, whatever shall I do?
Now you can't connect with all the other people who are simultaneously enjoying this game. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Select unit.
Staff movement, staff assignment. My name is Brutal Octopus. More like Widow's Peak. Have you noticed that the game really sucks at drawing, like, you know, the curvature of the head? So
Yeah.
everyone has like an octagon skull.
Yeah. And kind of a bulbous one. Did she get a face tattoo of the Fox logo? It's like 1984. You're not going to be employable anywhere but here for another like 20 years. And then McDonald's might have you.
This is
She's
a
not even
rough
out of
place.
jail yet. Did she have a choice in that, or did we do that to her?
Don't worry about it. I don't want to know what happened on this. What happens on the platform stays on the platform.
You're goddamn right it does.
Platform rules, baby.
Alright, we're dropping in at an oil field, I guess. Asking a lot of questions.
Got to get around and ask some questions of the oil field people. You got to smash them in the walls until they start answering.
Is something wrong with that, Psyduck? Skulking Weasel.
Skulko Wozel. Oh yes, now we're in Zaire
Yeah.
and Angola.
Also notably within Blackhawk range of the Seychelles Islands.
You know, let's not. It's kind of like in Xenonauts. I don't worry about the helicopter that can do Mach 3. You know, I don't want to know what sound it makes as the rotor blades pierce Mach 3. I don't, you know. I don't.
We know
I don't
what that
want
sounds
to know.
like. There's audio recordings of the thunder screech.
I think it would be a lot worse with a goddamn Chinook.
Yeah, I think so too. But we know the vicinity.
Oh God. It's like we caused a heart attack with the props. Good. That sounds metal as shit. Mach 3 helicopter is a good time. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna
He's
go to
still
the...
talking to me.
Good God, why?
Oh, there you shut up. I think you needed to tie the camouflage pattern into the part that you don't see anymore, guys.
The blue
When the
gentleman
door
says...
shuts.
The blue gentleman says Mach 3 helicopter is the name of my garage band. We are Mach 3 helicopter, and then it's just screeching sonic booms.
Damn it. We're doing one small step for man. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, well that's
the
what you
first
gotta
step
do.
in taking apart Cypher's interest in this country. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's one giant leap for parts of this that are supposed to be kind of like Metal Gear Solid 3. What about Tex Murphy's car that goes Mach 21? Do you trust the average motorist with anything that goes Mach speed? Just curious.
I don't trust the normal motorist at highway speeds.
Well, you shouldn't. We've all seen the highway safety video where they're just like, this man enjoyed the open highway. That was his mistake. Now he will die for it. Oh man, did you in driver's ed ever have to watch those horrible grisly videos where they're like, this is what happened to Linda when she didn't hit the brakes?
No. No.
Yeah, they're pretty gnarly. They would always show what, like, oh my, there was one where the guy went through the safety glass and it just exploded all over the front of the car. And I remember walking into the class late and seeing that, and I just said, what the fuck? Because that was the first thing I saw was just, this explosion of person. And the teacher said, like, oh, you're late. And I was like, well, if I hurry, do I become that? Because you're giving me, alternating inputs here. I need to know what's going on. Why are we looking at this? And they're like, this is what happens when you rush. And I'm like, well, then I'm glad I'm late. All right, so Cypher's operations apparently are in two very specific places for undisclosed reasons.
Yes. Did I forget my binoculars?
You don't need binoculars when you have rifle.
Oh, yeah, I didn't bring any binoculars.
You don't need binoculars. You have a rifle. If you put your eye up to the aperture and squeeze it really hard, you can see. You can see further with your very very squint eye vision. You squint very hard. It's your safety goggles. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember
yeah.
safety? You're sitting there running the grinder, and they're like, "You need your safety glass on." And you just put your squints on, and you're like, "Nope, I'm safe.
Yep.
Good as good can be."
No, it's equipped.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Well,
Too bad you don't have. Is it F for binoculars? F for
Yes.
Farsi?
Complete.
So I was saying C
That-
far. So I was pressing the C button because I couldn't remember what our mnemonic was.
Complete.
Yeah, squints equals safe. Bolo's got it.
The Contract Forces of Africa. Man, that is a generic sounding name.
Ah, yeah. Well, it's because
they-
these
they-
guys are the Walmart of
didn't-
PMCs.
They didn't put anything in the vestibule. You know, it's just hanging limp.
It's got a flap.
It doesn't appear to have the flap because it's been rolled back right there. You guys don't know how to take care of these tents.
Airflow's not important. You want a tent to hold every fart it can.
Access complete.
So this guy's like, "You need to go in there and take this apart." And you're like, "Okay."
I don't know if these
You want
guys
me
are
to-
involved in my mission. This is literally just the first people I encountered I decided to kill.
Well, I mean that's just what happens. They don't send Snake in to really sneak. They always say that a lot. "This is a stealth operation, Snake. This is a very sneaky operation. You need to not get spotted." And then you know what happens. He kills everybody. They're just saying what they have to say, so when it goes to the hearing, when they have the hearings 10 years from now, and they're like, "Did you greenlight this operation to murder 50 people?" And they're like, "No, here's the recording of me saying it's stealth, don't touch anybody, blah, blah, blah." And then they have Snake come in, and he's like, "Yeah, I stole 100 people. I stole them with balloons." I don't think you could prosecute this guy. And the reason I don't think you could prosecute Snake is because anything he says that's truthful is going to make him sound like a lunatic. "I stole a bunch of people with balloons." "What?" "Then I stole their car. I taught a dog to fight with a knife."
I commissioned ceramic armor for my horse.
"My friend is a Russian cowboy." You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's wacky. Like, I don't think you could prosecute him. I don't think it would work out like that. "I stole people with a balloon. I took them to my spider lair.
Yeah. The oil spider.
My helicopter has a range of 2,000 miles.
Snake would never make it into the courtroom. All that metal would set off the detector.
I just, why do you have a giant lump of what appears to be igneous rock in your head? And he's just like, he's- "Because it grows when I'm bad." They're like, could you read that back? Like, because they'd have the court stenographer, right? They're
Yeah.
like, "Strike that from the record or provide context." "It's my horn. I'm an angry man." But
demon.
why? "They call me the demon because I steal people with balloons." I don't think that he would need a lawyer. I think people would just go, "This is non sequiturs, and please take him out of here. This isn't even real."
Yeah, I don't think you could prosecute Snake because if you tried, you'd end up unconscious and tied to a balloon. Yes, Ack the oil spider is officially the name of the
Ex-
mother base now. His Mother Base is a really shitty name.
Again, it goes to court. What was the name of your headquarters? Mother Base. Why?
Ah, there went both my ankles again.
Don't worry about it. Every time Snake does this, he's a little shorter.
Mind me.
What if this is what
radio
Snake
you
thought he... What if this is what Snake thought he was doing? But in reality, he was just blowing their heads off. But he's like, no, I steal them with balloons.
I mean, it makes sense what with the shrapnel in his head, that, you know, his grasp of reality is not the firmest.
His sense of reality is as much informed by okay,
You're wearing an aircraft headset with that? Ugh.
don't worry about it. It's very fun. Now, when it comes down to the madness of all of this shit, you end up with a very interesting and compelling narrative, because if you put all of his deeds in order, all of them in order, it's unbelievable nonsense. It's just unbelievable nonsense. If you put A plus B plus C plus D plus E, you just all the things in sequence, and you brought this out into like a trial or a courtroom or a hearing, by the time they got to, you know, his history with 2, they would be like, you know what? No. I'm sorry, but no. And they're like, well, I had to save the president with my microphone. And they're like,
Analysis complete.
there's a secret group of people that controls the world. Well, what are they trying to do? I don't know. Stuff. And then they had Google Military, where everything was on one control. And that guy came out and he was like, bibbity bobbity, your guns don't work. Right? And I just think that Kojima, his writing makes a lot more sense if you replace the word nanomachines with magic. Like, if you just say magic, like, how did this happen? And he went magic, I would believe that more. Like, nanomachine, magic. How did all the guns stop working? Magic.
Yeah, that's fair. Why did all these guys fall asleep? Oh, they actually went to bed. Oh,
Now they're all awake because you brought probably one of the loudest dogs in the world, and it's just like howling and farting. I would love if Snake's dog was a bloodhound. It just sees somebody and goes nuts. Oh wow, look at those guys. They just ran past that wolf. They know what's good for them. They're like, I'm not dealing with that. Too rich for my blood. They just walked around the guy. They were just like, no thanks.
yeah.
I guess they just let people just kind of sleep it off here. They're like, oh no, this is sleepy camp.
Don't worry about it.
Just, you know,
they're just
yeah.
fucking off onto the boat. All right, y'all have fun then.
All right, have fun on your boat time.
While I wander around your base and steal your shit. And people.
You gotta stab people. You gotta do some stabbing, you know. It's important.
The map has been updated.
Yeah, I don't know. What did those other guys fuck off to?
That's a good question. Maybe they just left. They were like, today's their last day. They're gonna go down to the bar.
They're enlistment.
You
in
know? Yeah. They were like, oh, time to leave, and they just get in and go.
Yeah, they're like gone. They're not even on the map. Nice.
I think it'd be neat if you just had balloons again that took these guys like 100 feet in the air and then popped.
Dropped them.
Yeah, so they'd be like, "Wow, everyone slipped and died." Like it drops them, and it also drops a banana peel. So right next to each of these people, there's a banana peel. You know what I mean? It helps you explain the random neck break. It's just like, why is that person's neck broken? It's like stuff.
Why did we get the musical stinger there?
Well, I mean, it's called pizzazz. Okay.
Is it because I found boxes with some biological material in them?
I mean, who knows? I don't. I'm confused.
Yeah, me too. Thought there were like, you know, enemy combatants skulking around or something, but no, there's just Bob face down in the dirt, sleeping it off.
Well, I mean, you know, Bob's had a long. He's going through a divorce. You know, he's had a rough go.
Outpost captured.
He, you know, hasn't really had the best time.
It's being updated.
He's making the
Nice
most
skill
of it.
here, right, shield.
It's cool that they have a riot shield for their melee or something.
For their distinctly urban, tiny village.
And- Yeah, well, you need the riot shield for the riot. That's not good. I love the little touches in Kojima's worlds, but then the more you pick at them, the more you realize a lot of it's just like confetti on a wedding cake. It serves no purpose.
Yeah, and he lost the edge that he used to have. Which is an interesting thing to see happen in real time as you play through the games. Because, like, in the second game, Raiden's backstory is that he was part of a very real civil war as a child soldier, which is absolutely fucked. But it grounds things, whereas this is fake everything. Fake company, fake area of Africa. You know, Zare's a real place, but none of these places are real in Zare.
You know what's funny is you've got that shield, and one of our viewers said, "Was there a Xenonaut operation in the area?" Listen, Shield team gets things done. Their job is to go forward one at a time until the aliens are out of ammo. Then I send in Bonk team, or I send in the gas police.
Yes.
Those guys are awesome. And in a lot of people are having trouble with Xenonauts too. And I know I spoke with the devs; they're working on it because this is just like an alpha. But I do know some magical ways to make Xenonauts happen, and I think you guys will appreciate to know this. I just want you guys to understand that I found a way through that is hilarious, but you have to take your time. Load smoke grenades into grenade launchers, give everyone grenade launchers and smoke grenades. And as soon as you see anything, you just coat that side of the map and smonk, and the aliens pass out. They pass out like... Yeah, they just pass out. And then you go back to the base, and it's like, we recovered 18 aliens, and you throw like 17 into the mulcher. And then you take one to the science department. Excellent.
I
Your
pressed the
escape
wrong
vehicle
button.
is escaping.
I wanted to drive it. Okay.
You know, it's just you've sent it upwards. It's upwardly mobile as a truck.
Yeah, that was muscle memory. That was my bad.
It's okay. You're doing your best. When it comes down to the bonkers nonsense, the absolute bonkers nonsense of crazy weapons and what have you. I love what you've done with the modding of the game. But what other weapons are we going to see? Because right now you've got your Mark 22 being all hush quiet, and you've got, you know, your AR-15 derivative doing
Yeah.
your, you know, your best weekend warrior. I know what I got, you know, built not bought, etc., etc.
Well, actually, this would be specifically bought. This is like a Colt 723 or something.
You know what I mean. In forgeries, etc. But here's my like I remember the game by default it was either an FNFAL or an FNFNC, wasn't it? By default you're starting
Well,
kits.
it tried to be kind of FNC-ish. It was supposed to be an analog of either the FNC or the M16, and it got used for both. But yeah, no, we can switch weapons up.
I'm just curious. I mean, what if we went into battle with the shotgun and then we shot them with it and they're like, "Why have I been shot with a shotgun?" You're like, "'Cause you're here." Same reason that Roost Chris is the way it is. Because it is. All right, let's get up this little ladder and do our thing. I just like that you're just taking people, and the enemy doesn't realize that, you know, the people disappearing is a cause for concern.
No, it's normal to never hear from a platoon of individuals ever again. Or more specifically, to have them disappear for 6 months and then they pop up on the beach in the Seychelles and try to claim they didn't, desert, break their contract.
Oh yeah, let's just run around.
Now we fuck off because we've done all the damage we could there.
I think that's important. I mean, why would you ever want to take any of Kojima's games seriously? I really don't understand.
XM16 custom.
Oh man, custom?
I
How
believe
custom?
that's the Patriot.
Oh right, the gun. The gun that shoots infinite because it has the infinite symbol on it.
Yeah, and as the bullets coming out backwards because and they're tumbling already as well.
Well, you know,
that's a good thing.
it's important. It's very important to have your bullets leave any which way they feel is necessary. It's important to have those bullets just leave the gun as is, like orienting your bullets to go forward. That's all you need, just forward. They just throw them everywhere. I mean, you know, as you've seen many times in football games, when the furthest, most accurate football throws are those which just tumble end over end without any orientation whatsoever. You know, no spins except for end over end. Just end over end spins are the most important ones.
Yeah, I can respect that they knew the gun was stupid, so they gave it a stupid explanation. Coyote.
Yeah.
Snake is just tying balloon animals to people, and he imagines they float away.
That's not wrong. you're not wrong at all. You're just stealing animals, right? You're just taking them and you're putting them in other places. You're just like, I would like this now, and there's nothing they can do about it.
How I Did It! Last Gun to Martyr by Stephen Amaris. Available soon at a barrel of books near you.
Barrel of books. That's not bad.
Yeah.
You know, that's the funny thing is I can't believe it, but in my head I look back at videos we've made and you look back and you're like, good God, I remember when I was recording the second half of the American Civil War was the week you visited.
Yeah.
And I said, I have to go in the back and record this or Mike's gonna break my legs. And you said, okay. And then I came out and it was like, okay. You didn't hold it against me. I wasn't a bad host, so I appreciate that.
No. What you gotta
yeah.
do is what you gotta do.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? The internet needs this. And then it's weird because that was years ago, and it doesn't feel like years ago. It feels like 6 months ago. And then I look back and I'm like, I've made a lot of movies with my friends.
For a bit, yeah.
Well, it's a lot of people have asked me, like, shit, you've been doing YouTube for, God, yeah, 12 years now. 12 years and change. And when it comes down to making stuff over a long time, you have to love it. You basically have to love what you do, or you're going to become a really bad person making stuff. Because, for instance, if you look over on the left-hand side of Twitch, you're going to see all these other channels, and a lot of content creators I know, like, watch all of those numbers obsessively. And they're like, well, I don't have as much as this, or I don't have as much as that, or I blah, blah, blah. And then they worry about what people are playing, like, well, Baldur's Gate 3 is really popular right now. If I'm not playing the most popular game, you know, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, this is the most popular way to play the most popular game. And people obsess over all that shit. And when you try to be anything other than who you are and play anything other than what you like with people you like, you're going to become something very different. And it's not worth being that person. I'm just lucky because I'm allowed to make things with friends the way I want to, in ways that make us all have fun. And I think that is the thing to keep in
Get on
mind.
the mortar.
Well, I mean, they want to blow you up right away. But if you can't make dumbass shit with your friends, why do anything? Because when you look back at the end of your days and they have your ass hooked up to all the little beep boop machines in the hospital, you don't want to be like, my metrics on Tuesdays were really good. It's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good when you say that. You need to say something like, I made an assload of movies for charity, or I made an assload of very improbable things and I make people happy. That's all that really matters, guys. Just keep that in mind. Shit posting is forever. Blap 'em.
Oh, wow.
Now, was that a grenade, or did the guy accidentally self-mortar?
I don't know which happened, but either way, it was a direct result of my gunfire, so I'm gonna count that as a good kill.
Mr. Train coming by to tell us what's up. Mr. Train coming by. Mr. Train's like, hey man, I heard you were lonely. And I'm like, every day, man. And he's like, don't worry. Bam! You think the guy in the train is lonely too, and that's why he's like playing his mating call? He's hoping for another train coming along the line, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like he's hoping that, you know, another train is gonna come along the along the line and doing their best, and when this other train comes up, there will be a boop and a boop, and they will both just nod at each other in that perfect, you know, passing of trains. Maybe that's a sign between trains. We don't know.
It
Like,
could be.
Yeah, like what if like that's a train, like I need a sandwich, and they're waiting for a train going the other way
To deposit said sandwich.
Yeah. Like, what if that's the thing? Has anyone thought of that?
I don't think that anybody has.
Okay, because I'm curious. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I'm just curious. I'm curious as to what you guys think. Is the train the way, or is the way the train?
Why not both? The train is the way and the way is the train.
I My head hurts now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know which is the way and which isn't, but I'm gonna tell you this much. The more I think about it, the more my head hurts.
That's why you don't move in the open without covering fire. I'm up, he sees me, I'm down. Important words.
That's true.
Oh, come on, the red barrel's not explosive.
Which came first, the way or the train? I'm confused now and I'm
Let
scared.
me show you the way.
Oh, Mitch tells us trains are fewer nowadays because the strong have killed the weak and now they patrol their territory waiting for the opportunity to take over everything else. I hate that that makes good logic, you know? Like, the trains, begin the train years.
It's better than the actual reason.
Let's make up. Why do you have to accept other people's logic, Deb? Why can't we make up our own and just live within that bubble? You know, someone says, why this, why that? And you just be like, because. Because it is. Why not? It is what it is.
Should you really be throwing hand grenades so willy-nilly in an oil processing facility?
Listen, man, natural gas doesn't blow up on its own all the time. That's crazy talk.
I mean,
Who?
I can do that too if that's what you're after.
It's fine. It's very safe. You know how safe it is? It's safe.
It's very safe.
See, if you say that enough, it might be true. It's one safe. It's got a safety factor.
It does have a safety factor. Oh man, God, strange. All those explosives coming down at once in one very, specific area at my behest. Gad.
You know, a smart person might think that you had some sort of artillery on tap or something.
Yeah, it's a hell of a hand grenade, friend. Oh, there used to be someone here. Good for you.
I require the large grenade. Brother, I require the large grenade.
Why would these guys be talking in Afrikaans?
Well, he read a book about like executive outcomes and stuff, and he said that that is absolutely what I want. And then nobody else knew what he was talking about because he didn't. So he communicated his wants very indirectly. When I make movies, sometimes I'll write down really stupid notes like, this shouldn't explode, right? And no one knows what I'm talking about because I've been up for like 4 days straight. And so the things that come out of my mouth are very dumb.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh man, if you corn dog this one, and people just look at me like, you've lost your goddamn mind. And they're right. But that's how magic is made. I think Kojima does the same thing. He just leaves like little sticky notes. Like they come into work, like, man, it's another day at the thing, and they start working. And as they start working and doing their best to, do good work, they find a Post-it note from Kojima. And it just has something like a drawing. It just says this. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we have to ship our part in the next week. And he's like, no, you don't understand. This.
This is it.
This is the bee's knees.
And you probably might oughta, consider wearing body armor if you're gonna be up against the greatest soldier that ever soldiered.
I don't think body armor will protect you. I think what would protect you is just like some sort of coating of grease.
Post captured.
Because if you had a coating of grease, he couldn't like throw you around or attach you to balloons or stuff. You'd try. And then you
40%,
just,
maybe you live.
yeah, it just a little bit of, I don't know, maybe something that when he grabs you, it gets in your eyes, and you're like, it hurts. It hurts
Pocket
so
sand.
much. Pocket sand. There you go.
There's that one. Where's the other one? Is that the only one? What's my other objective?
Congratulations, Snake. You now own this whole facility.
No, I'm not a soldier of conquest. I'm here to free these soldiers from soldiering for soldiering.
I'm glad that I'm
here to
glad
stop
that
these mercenaries from working for a government, as I work for the opposing government. And I have the moral high ground.
I do love that there's a moral high ground in this.
Because I'm not a pawn like they are.
You're not the pawn in this one.
Oh, good lord. Okay.
Snake is just pawn in Game of Life. I don't even understand what we're referencing, but I'm going to say
I already
that
blew that one up.
Snake, that's what's important. Exploding things, right? What I think would be great, and hey, welcome Obsidian. Thanks for checking it out. But I think what would be really fun is to have a co-op version of this game where you get to play as the C-130 orbiting and you have FLIR, and all you can do is yell at the person on the radio. You're like, don't go in there. There's like 80 dudes. And then you come tumbling out, and I'm like, real? And I said, don't go in there, bro. You went in there, and never mind. You go ahead, you do what you do.
You have arrived at
Do
your
the do, Snake.
You are going to ignore what I say no matter what, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, I'm just going to agree to whatever you say, Snake. Just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead. Doesn't matter. You're just gonna stab everybody anyways. You gave that dog a knife, Snake.
Why does the dog got a knife, Snake?
Yeah, why does the dog have a knife? Snake, please.
I'm not actually sure which part of this row I'm supposed to blow. So,
Snake, please don't give the dog knives.
so now do I need to get away before I detonate, or can I just...
That's a good question, and I think
No,
that
there we
nobody...
go, we're good.
Oh, good lord.
Yep, it's perfectly normal to blow up part of the oil refinery while you stand within it.
I long ago learned not to ask any questions in a Kojima game, ever. It was one of those things where you're like, wow, this seems like that would be dumb.
Why do they have walkers?
Yeah. Well, because something that is a prototype is obviously easily mass-produced, and then a training regimen is made so that everyone can have them immediately. Right? That's how it works.
That
Everyone
appears
at
to be
once.
how it works. Wait, why did we... Well... So what, did that cutscene?
Don't worry about cutscenes. I mean, come on.
Okay, so
What's
no,
logic?
I wasn't supposed to blow that room up. I'm supposed to just turn it off.
Oh. I see. I see what you're saying. Turn it off. Well, hold on. Explosives are a way of turning things off, aren't they?
I would have thought so, yes.
Yeah.
Boston Dynamics was really ahead of the game in '79 or whatever. You know.
Yeah,
Oh no,
Boston
it's
Dynamics.
so dark you can't tell what's coming out of the oil.
Oh
Oh
no.
no, it's supposed to be bodies with lung blisters.
I think that's not how that works.
That's totally how that works.
How much does it work that way? I'm curious.
155% works that way.
That's 150, or is this one of those things where you're like 50% of the time it works 100% of the time? Is that
No, it
all right?
works 150% of the time. So were those guys gonna like come see what was going on, or are they just like hiding over there? I guess I'm done. Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared.
I'm scared. I don't want to go to summer camp anymore. And don't play with oil or in oil because you can get hydrocarbon pneumonitis.
Yeah,
I had
which
to
gives
look
you
that up.
weird lung blisters.
Yeah, I had to look that up because I wanted to know its actual name. But yeah, it's quite not good. It is what we like to call the ungood.
It does not actually give you lung blisters, so that's a Kojima make thing for his little
No,
disease.
yeah, it gives you the canker eventually. Like don't play in gas. Don't do it. Dark Lodestar says it makes lungs appear on the outside. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Yep. I like that they have, like Avenger systems here. Just to spice things up. Nothing like a good old 20 mil.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually reasonable until you realize what it's protecting, and that if you just swiveled it around the wrong way, oops.
I'm not
See
busting
if
through anywhere. I am stealing shit. Now shut the fuck up.
Fez, I am not giving knives to dogs. That's Depp doing that. You can
Knife
blame me
dog.
for other things like giving smonk to aliens and introducing them to second, if not third-hand smonk.
What was the button for lights again? It doesn't matter.
Why do you need lights when you have the infrared?
Deeperga headlights? Nope.
Illuminate.
Oh, don't even play heroic music. I just murdered like everybody, dude.
You should just make it play the Final Fantasy music where it's like and just cruises around.
I think the idea when your LZ is surrounded by pipes is to go up, not around.
I wouldn't worry
Okay.
about it. Why would you worry about it? Worrying about it sounds very, very foolish. You know? I mean, you could worry about it, or you could not worry about it.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
You know, they seem really, really happy with my performance there. And I don't know why.
I think they're happy with your performance because you're a good person.
Mission complete. Great work.
They were like, this person is exceptionally good.
Retries, you know, that's important. 32% accuracy, that's pretty good.
Yeah, they said that
We
you're
made money.
you made money. That's what's important.
I made $10,000
$10,000 whole dollars. Good God.
because I spent $300,000 in support between mortar rounds and fuel for the Black Hawk.
You know, I think that what they did was they realized that they just need to start paying you off. Otherwise, you're going to start killing people because your way of recruiting people is to put balloons on them and send them into orbit.
Wait, AA cannon? Wasn't that the thing that just used on those ground troops? Isn't that a war crime? Well, it would be if either of us were enemy combatants, but they are contractors, and I am a crazy man with a gun. So it's
Yeah,
actually
there's
more in the vicinity of an actual crime, just like normal murder.
Yeah, It's just crime. It's just crime. It's just crime. They're like, what happened here? Well, a lunatic and a minigun. And they're like, oh. So good old-fashioned crime then. And you just nod. You're like, yeah, that's what I did. Crime.
More food for Ack the oil spider. Yeah, they're questioning Huey down there. It doesn't fucking matter.
They question him by just... I mean, they didn't really ask him a question,
No.
did they?
No, they just tortured him, and we watched, and we're like, yep, that's something I'm willing to be involved in, because I'm a bad guy now.
Yeah, they literally just tortured him. They didn't really give him a chance to answer anything. They just beat the living shit out of him, and they were like, "You bad man does bad things," and you're like, okay. I mean, what about asking him a question?
All right.
I love how you took all these people and it just says volunteer. I think it's
Yes.
because that they saw they just played a video of you interrogating that guy. They just played that video and they're like, "This is what we did with somebody we like," and they're like, "Oh, good God," you know. They just showed that of like Bendy leg, and they were like, "You know what? We should probably work for this guy."
Oh, it doesn't
We
seem
should-
connected. The mysterious new lungs inside out disease doesn't seem connected to the reason we're here.
I wouldn't worry about it. You know, I have a lot of feelings that worrying is probably not in our best interest. I'm just going to say that until people stop worrying about it. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. Hey, Chad, are you going to worry about it? I don't think Chad's going to worry about it. And see, if you don't worry about it and I don't worry about it, was it really a problem?
No,
Was
probably not.
no, probably not. Probably not a problem. Because if I'm not worried about it, and you're not worried about it, and Chad isn't worried about it, was it really a war crime? Please don't say yes. We don't want to reset to the stage of worried. We're just going to assume, we're going to presume, rather, that nothing bad happens. See? Nothing bad. Nothing bad happened. Nobody...
Nothing
see,
bad
no, nothing.
happens.
Nothing bad happens in Funland. In fact, let's just redact our area of operations and just call it Funland, shall we?
Dropping in at Funland again.
Yeah, like 80 dead in Funland, and they'll go like, "Oh no, the theme park," and you'll be like, "Yes." They won't read further into it, will they? They'll go, "Oh, it's Funland. That happens there."
So we can have AK-74. That's a nice model one.
Yeah, it is. And you know those
74
Bakelite
U.
magazines are a little harder. Oh man, we could get that and be blind. Those are fun. Those are fun. I knew a guy who had a
XM17s.
I knew a guy who had a Krinkov, and I'm going to say this. One, for those of you who don't know, the Krinkov is an American invention. It's not Soviet at all. The AKSU-74 is, and the AKS-74U is, but the actual Krinkov is American as fuck. Ah, boy. Let's see. What choices? But I knew a guy who had a Krinkov, and I'm going to tell you this. You light off 5.45 out of a barrel that short, and you're just like, what eyebrows? You don't need a flashlight either. You're just like, well, guess I'm blind now. It was really cool to shoot. It's really, really fun to shoot, but
I can't do
Also-
customized weapons.
why can't you customize weapons? You probably have to research the weapon customization something, right?
Yeah, probably.
There's probably a bit of...
There we go. There's the
there-
M1911 from fucking Terminator. We'll want that.
Well, oh yeah, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that. Oh, cool, the Hungarian AMD 65. That's interesting. You know what? You know what you should take? You should, let's say, choices. I demand you take the RPK 74. I think that you need to let loose at all times at Fusillade. I think that that is what's absolutely necessary in these trying times.
Alright, we can do that. The M1918 tank Gewehr. Yeah, we need one of those.
Well, yeah, I mean, tank Gewehr is very important. I mean, it's a Gewehr for tanks, right? It's important to shoot the really heavy bullet at a person because naturally human flesh stops, you know, nothing. I cannot imagine why you would take that into this situation, but we're gonna do it, right?
Yeah. So the important thing is now we're developing all that stuff, and it'll be done right around the time we're done streaming today.
Excellent. I love games that tell me that everything is okay.
Yeah, I thought about getting the mods to get rid of the time limits because they don't really add anything other than artificially ensuring that you are engaged with their game for longer, but
Don't you want your game to be prime something something?
yeah, you know that's the mark of a good game, that it's got to hold you hostage with time limits.
I like my games to hold me hostage. I think that it's very important to have games that hold me hostage from my time. And I want to, you know, I want to make sure that my time is spent well. I want to make sure that
Stone. Sorry.
why are you getting onto the stoner train?
I'm just
Leaves-
wondering why
le-
I've got two different stoners with slightly different damage.
Well, it's because one was before and after it was corrected.
One's the knights and the other's the stoner.
Yeah. Like Stoner came up with a lot of great ideas and then Gunsmiths came along and made them work.
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to be mean. That happens with everything. Mikhail Kalashnikov made the prototype, and it took a whole design bureau to work the kinks out of it. It's just this typical way with weapons. Somebody will come up with an idea, and then you have a bunch of people who come together and go, okay, that's nice. Oh my god, take the Sturmpistol. Please take that.
You want
Please
the
take-
Sturm Pistola?
Yeah, man, come on. I want a flare gun with a rocket. That's what I want. And hello, people. People rejoining.
All right.
Hooray.
Commencing mission. We're gonna do it in daylight, so that their night vision makes them less effective.
I too like to be blind. It makes me feel better.
Subscription jail has been lifted. Hello, Ashura. Ah, yes, the one-man portable tank of air 1918, easily fired from the shoulder, standing.
That's what you need. If I could take
Yeah,
anything.
the Sturm
just-
Pistola is real. It was a conversion of essentially a tiny,
I think it's a
rifle
26
grenade?
in it. I think it's also the 26.5 millimeter Luftwaffe flare gun.
yeah, it's the 1934 flare gun, which is based on the French World War I model that was made out of brass. But this one is
Yeah.
made out of steel, so it's got a little bit stronger chamber. And then to use that extra chamber pressure, they developed a grenade version.
Which-
for
yeah.
assaults into trenches and things, because they were convinced they were going to be fighting World War I again.
And it's really great to have, you know, a rocket in your pocket. That's what it's for.
Now,
Yeah.
the Germans carried that one further as an idea by creating an incendiary version, in post-war Bundeswehr use, which is just, it looks like a Pringles tube with a pistol grip on the end of it, and it just
Yeah.
projects fire.
Yeah, and it's an amazingly disposable flamethrower. That is basically, imagine a cult gun that is a flamethrower, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's
If that
it's
sounds
just
like
like
a good idea to you.
if I was in Starfleet, that would be in the escape kit or emergency kit. You crash on an unknown planet and you don't want to like ruin things with a phaser. God, that's a good boy. He's
It's
right
exactly like a real dog. You're trying to look
You're
through
like
the
a-
binoculars and all you see is dog.
in there. Well, dog is happy, right? But you want flamethrowers. I mean, okay. Can I ask a question of Chad? Is that too crazy? Here, okay, Chad. Here's my question. Who here doesn't like flamethrowers? I'll wait.
Analysis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I didn't hear nothing.
I didn't hear nothing, and I ain't worried. If you ain't worried, I ain't worried.
I've got infinite suppressor on this thing? Fuck yes.
I mean, I think we've all sat there sooner or later and said, man, look at those guys over there. If only I could set them on fire.
From all the way over here.
Yeah. Yeah. You just had that thought. You were like, you know what'd be really great is to set these things on fire. And it's just one of those things of, you can make that happen. We have the technology. Life is about choices, and a flamethrower is a choice. Actually, a flamethrower isn't a statement, really. A flamethrower is one of those statements of no. It really is. It really is about just no. You're like, oh, cool, that's neat. Fire.
Yeah, it's a hell of a problem solver for whatever your problem is.
It's one of those things where you go, why would you have this? And as you're standing there in the burning pile of things, you turn toward them and you just start monologuing the Guy Montag intro. It was a pleasure to burn.
Exactly.
They're like, why are you like this? And you're like, I don't know, fire. I had thought about making when we get the video, or not video out, but rather when we get the podcast up to date and we get the Traveler game up there, I was thinking about making a what would Crowbound do wristband, limited number, like, you know, reminder bracelet for charity.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Just what would Crowbound do? ICAST Toolbox. You can trust a flaming skeleton in a spacesuit. Surprisingly, I was not the least effective engineer in Traveler.
No, you did fairly well.
I think you were a little bit upset initially. You don't have to say you are, but I feel you were a little bit upset initially with my solution to the mine until you realized you could punish us for it.
No, it was just not what I was expecting.
Well, okay, without ruining anything. Well, you can tell the story. I mean,
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So we were playing Traveler, and we float through this minefield, and these are, you know, self-adhering mines, and one of them just goes clang and sticks on the ship, and we're like, if we move, it blows up. If we don't move, it might just blow up anyways to spite us. So we're sitting there going, God fucking damn it, because we have this mine, and we don't know what to do with it. And so the whole crew is sitting there like, well, we could try to reprogram the mine, or we could try to figure out a way of disarming the mine, or we could, you know, reverse the polarity of the whatever and make it float off the hull. And I played a very dumb... Well, he wasn't dumb. He was actually incredibly intelligent. It's just, I played him as, like, fish out of water alien.
Yeah.
So I played him as, like, a plasma man. from Space Station 13. He is a burning skeleton in a spacesuit. And so while everyone's trying to figure out what to do, Krovan just goes out on the hole with an impact wrench and removes the plate the mine's attached to, and then just kicks it out into space.
Yeah, it was very, very well done.
Well, what was great is he punished us later. Because we come in and that panel is covering important stuff for re-entry, so it just burns it all up. We come in and we're like, why are all these sensors gone? You're like, well, there's a hole in the hull. And we're like, oh, right. Fuck. Fuck. We just melted more than we saved. We should be like, we should have let the mine go off.
I mean, the mine would have been pretty catastrophic.
The mine would have stranded us there, but that was the worst thing that happened in that game. The worst thing that happened was that cult that made me think you were going to go all Call of Cthulhu, but it turned out to be just a really boring cult. I was like, sure.
Most cults are.
I know. Most cults are quite tame. It's just the imagination of the cult that makes you go, oh my god, what are they really into? But you're sitting there watching this cult do its thing, and we're waiting for them to start, poisoning us or whatever, and it's like the food is just kind of bland. And the people are insane.
Yeah.
And that was fine because last game you DM'd, I was expecting something horrible.
I'm
Sili-
sorry to have disappointed.
Silicon Soul says, oh no, the consequences of my solutions. That is correct. We are not smart people in Traveler. We're probably, that was a fun game, even though we went way off the deep end. We completely missed what was your intended guy. And yeah, Diggs's character was the smartest guy because Diggs made made up for all of our... Okay, look, Diggs says I was smart until the meth. I would say that's also smart. We had limited resources. We may have been marooned between jumps, and so in the downtime where everyone else was having an existential crisis and I was trying to figure out how the bomb worked, you were like, well, when the times get hard, the hard men make meth.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah. Well, and we made some meth. We also had some dehydrated whale and a few other things. It's a fun game. We had the Space Marine who ended up shooting nobody. And we had the... Diggs shot that first guy who came in. And that was hilarious because Diggs' character thought it was essentially not a threat.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is a test. The captain set up a test for us, and this guy comes in, and he's like, give me all your and then just Diggs tases him, and is like, all right, where's the real threat? And we're all just standing there like, oh. Yeah, the Traveler game is stupid, but it's great. We did not help much. However, Operation Sidecorn is probably the best ending. That was the dumbest thing, and it was great.
Oh, Jesus
So what is
fucking Christ.
What is up with your FAL? Is it a stealth foul?
Yes.
Is that its job?
It is
just
stealth stun foul, so it's shooting rubber 308 rounds.
rubber 308.
Yeah, rubber 308.
Wow. And Mitch, we haven't put the Traveler game up yet. It's like 20 episodes, and each is like 3 hours long.
All right,
It's
I
gonna take
apparently-
forever.
Can't hold this guy at fucking gunpoint.
Send him
you
to the
know,
moon.
The guy.
I don't think you can hold him with a stern pistol because he realizes if you pull the fucking trigger, you're both done.
Where are your friends?
I think fun games are dumb and dumb games are fun, but not always both. Because I've been in games that are just dumb and they're not fun. They're just like, why? You just say, why? Why is this happening the whole time? I've actually played in games that were like acid dreams, you know? Like, the DM was on drugs. And they weren't the good ones. They were just like, what if? And then just replace what if with it happens. That's where games run on like Sierra logic.
They showed me where it was going to happen, right? Yeah.
Development project has been added.
That's supposed to happen up here.
Boss, the interpreter didn't know the target's location. He did tell us where the interrogations are conducted, but they won't start before nightfall. So I think it's
You know what I think would be? Because I know you could later get like a rocket arm that can fly out and beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny if you had like rocket boot, so you would start kicking their ass, and then you'd turn it on, and you would kick their ass like over a building. I know it would also hyperextend your knee and break it the wrong way, but I mean, there's.
I mean, they're clearly
yeah.
not scared of doing that because they did it to Huey.
Analysis complete.
Oh
No,
no, that
they-
guy's got an Uzi.
Oh my God, he has an effective range of 8 feet.
Analysis complete.
That guy's got a foul. He could potentially be dangerous at some point. Hey, buddy. Uzi does it.
I hate to say this, but a friend of mine had an Uzi, and he would say stuff like that. It was all Uzi puns, and they were terrible. He would say, "This thing is very galling," and I'm like, "Don't you mean galling?" And he goes, "No, because Uzi will gal." Like, they were really far stretches of anything he could put Uzi in there. He's like, "Hey, I'll have some eggs over Uzi," and I'm like, "Shut up, please."
God damn it.
That was the guy who showed me how ridiculously tough those things are, though. Because I know a lot of people say they don't like them, or they're not modern, or blah. But,
Well, they're not modern, but that
no.
doesn't particularly affect whether they're useful.
No, well, he had the full-size Uzi with the wood and everything, you know, the full push-it-to-the-limit thing. He
Yeah, the
actually had...
MP2.
He actually had the full leather holster for it.
Oh, good lord.
The shoulder holster for the Uzi. He had that. And it was dumb, but it was cool. He had a handful of suppressors for it, because Uzis are fine with suppressors. But the fun thing that he did is he and I were shooting it once, and there was this incredibly loud bang, and the gun stopped working, and like the top half of the receiver was like, you know, kind of blown out, and I'm like, oh my God, like it's you ruined your machine gun. And he took it off and banged it with a hammer and a tire iron until it was straight enough, and then put it back together and just kept shooting like nothing ever happened. And I was like, what the fuck? And he goes, oh, these things are great. I was like, had that happened with my machine gun, like if there was a bang and then something happened, I'd hear like taps in my head.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, well, that's the end of that. Just take your hat off and stare at it with tears in your eyes. The thing that's really nice about those is like there's Uzi, and then there's mini Uzi, and then there's micro Uzi, and what they should be called is like controllable, semi-controllable, and no, because the micro Uzi is essentially all of the chaos of a Glock 18 with none of the controllability. It just pinwheels out of your hand. It should say, again, the fire selector should say like single shot and then aircraft, because that is where it's going to be oriented. They are just absolutely hysterically uncontrollable. It's why they put them in movies. They look really cool. I wouldn't say we're kidnapping entire camps of hostiles. We're using a lot of grenades. The
Done.
Uzi guy, the Uzi guy I used to shoot with was the guy we'd go to a gun range and he'd rattle off like a whole magazine in full auto. The range master would come over and say no rapid fire, and he would look at them and go, "Sir, machine guns are illegal. Put it in single fire and shoot very slowly." Like deliberately as slowly as possible. The range master would leave and then he would go rapid fire. And inevitably the range master would kick some guy with a Beretta off the range. Be like, "I hear you shooting as fast as you can." Oh God. That was in rural Texas where you go to some ranges and you'll see people who are like, they take out a 45 and it takes them 30 minutes to squeeze off all 7 rounds.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta be real careful. It's 45, you know?
It could destroy planets. Well, I told you.
I want to pierce through the back wall. Put 2 of them
I
in the
don't-
same hole.
I don't want to go through and shoot the moon. I remember when I saw Saving Private Ryan in the theater, and they had a program when this turned out to be a really bad idea because it brought back a lot of PTSD for older vets. But when Saving Private Ryan came out, they had like, hey, if you bring, Old Man Withers, who is on Omaha Beach, he can watch the movie for free. So you have a bunch of old dudes like tripping out at the gorier scenes of the film, which is horrible to watch. But there was this old guy behind me, and he had all of his veteran hat and patches on, World War II vet. And he didn't say a goddamn thing most of the movie. But when the 45 got shot at the tiger and the tiger exploded, he said out loud, and I remember this, "Yep, they'll do that." And now, in my head, I always presumed he meant like tigers will just blow up. Or, sometimes the war happens like that. Like, boom, something happens. But as I get older, I realize he's like, "Yep, 45 will do that."
So the
I wanna
Stern
live-
pistol is not the best for taking on multiple enemy combatants on a 270-degree arc around your position.
Boarded by. Yep.
The balloon or the grenade, one way or the other, you're flying out of here. Stealing people or stealing people. Yeah.
Well, it's what you gotta do.
High-level British CFA officials are being held by their Afrikaner
I love old people who've stopped giving a fuck because I realize when I get old, I'm gonna do the same thing. When I get old, I'm going to just stop giving a fuck. When you get to like 80 years old, you should just do whatever you want. The world, drive 150, shoplift, what do you think they're going to do if you're like 120 and you're like, "I'm taking this cologne"? Are they going to like beat you up? No. Go to the Mexican restaurant. "Extra spicy, please. I don't have long." No regrets. Old people are great. They're fantastic.
If you're going to use a weapon, be careful not to draw the enemy's attention.
Just go test drive a Ducati.
The CFA are
Just go test drive a Ducati. "Your fastest motorcycle, please."
situation must be worse than we thought.
"Does the speedo say 200? That's too slow. I want to really feel the wind."
I flew P-51s in the war. I know what fast is.
Yeah, I saw somebody pull out of a Ducati dealership once. And they like revved it, because they just got it, just signed the papers. This is their moment. They probably have the poster at home, right? In the garage with all the tools already bought. And they're just like, "This is my moment." They've got, this guy had the Ducati jacket on. So either he already owned it or he bought it there with the bike. So
Yeah.
this guy was all in on that Ducati. He had the Ducati helmet, he had the Ducati jacket. I'm pretty sure the boots were probably made for that bike. He gets on his racing bike and he revs it. And I hear it go, you know, just like flooring it.
Yeah, just red line.
Yeah. And it goes on its rear wheel and it takes him all the power of God to bring that back down to the ground and not die. And he sits there for a minute, and I'm sure that if he was able to relax his muscles, he would have shit himself. If he were able to. But he couldn't, out of just sheer panic. And as soon as I saw that, I went like, man, his insurance isn't gonna have a good day soon. People on those really fast motorcycles, you'll see them like cutting through traffic really fast, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. My favorite ones are when they, you know, video themselves committing multiple crimes and running from the police, and then they're like, "How did they know it was me?"
Yeah, and they're like,
if you're going to do a video of yourself committing a crime, don't put it on YouTube for clout, please.
it seems like a really bad way to go. Like I understand if like you know you have limited time left.
Your
Like
lawyer
again,
will thank me.
yeah, this is not legal advice. This is just common sense.
Yeah.
But I'm terrified of bikes that can go from 0 to 4,000 miles an hour in like a second. Like, I like old Indians, I like Harleys, where they backfire and spit, and it takes a bit to get them going. You know, you have to punch through some gears to reach regret velocity.
Yeah. I once saw a very overweight gentleman riding a very, very comically small motorbike. I barely recognized that's what it was.
So you thought it was like a mini bike at first? You were like, oh,
Like a Shriner on a mini bike.
yeah. Now, if you want to look at Prime FUD, like Prime I don't give a fuck, Prime Boomer Energy, it is the Harley Davidson trike. Where they just
the
ride-
couch
yeah.
on wheels, yes.
Yeah, it's like a mobility scooter for the highway. And you'll see people on those, and they'll have their like cut, you know, their leather jacket with like 800 things that are not motorcycle gang, and they will just go down the highway, and they're like, you know, I'm for this many orphanages and dog pounds, and you're like, okay, why are you taking up 3 lanes? My favorite as well is when you see people driving a motorcycle and they have something clipped to their handlebars like a big glug drink. Like, you know what? If I hit it, someone's gonna die to my big glug jug from Buc-ee's. Oh man. You know what else? You know what are fun though is dirt bikes. Dirt bikes are a lot of fun. Too much fun. Really good way to end in the hospital. Don't buy one, but definitely borrow one with insurance. Just don't purchase one yourself.
It's the motorcycle equivalent of a good place to visit.
I've been in many places where I'll go, this is nice, and they're like, would you ever move here? And I'm like, why are you asking that right away? They almost always ask that right away. They're just like, oh, would you move here? And I'm like, are things that desperate? Do you need new people that badly? What's going on here? And they're like, the elders take the oldest every night.
Did you know that if you put somebody who's asleep or stunned in the back of a truck, they will never wake up?
I did not know that. Is that because you're going to blow the truck up? Is that like foreboding?
I just don't want him waking up. I want to keep track of him.
Okay. He's just going to hang out there.
Yep, he's going to hang out there until I am ready to talk to him.
Laughing Man says it best. Motorcycles are a great way to meet women, mostly nurses. You're not wrong.
Take this one for myself.
There are only a handful of places I would ever own a motorcycle. A very bare handful of places.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know, like I've ridden a Valk. I owned a Valk for a while. I've ridden a Ural. I've ridden Harleys.
I like girls, but they're nowhere near as fast as the movies show them out to be, especially
Oh,
with a
no.
sidecar.
Girls
They're
move
like
at the speed of smell.
they make a lot of noise when they do it, but they are not fast bikes. You go get an old Ural and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna Indiana Jones it with a sidecar, and it's like, welcome to 55.
55 will burn out the engine. It's happier at 45.
If you put bigger
That's-
tires on it, it might go faster.
Yeah,
but it won't
that's-
turn. It won't turn.
Ah, yes, bigger tires, also known as poor man's overdrive.
Shut up. I've had some bad bikes before.
Fuck, I was so poor that I was running a car tire on the back of the Valk and thought I was
Dark
cool for
side.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not
Yep.
safe. Shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the practice. There's a lot of really okay bikes though you can have for not a lot of money. But I'm not a. I get so terrified in traffic as is, just because we've reached an era where people just hold their phone in their hand while driving.
Yeah, with no regard for even people who can see them.
Yeah, they just typically like mentally check out. And you're like, why? And they just do it. They're like, you know what I need? I need zero attention. I'm just gonna sit here and play, my puzzle game while I'm in traffic. One of my favorite moments was on the interstate near here. I watched two people just merge into each other, both on their phones. They did not use their blinkers. They did not check. They did not look over. They both had their phones, and they both simultaneously into each other.
Okay.
And they were both committed to it. It happened for like 30 seconds. Like, at a certain point, you're like, I have bonked another car. I should go the other way. No peripheral vision, no turning of the head. Just pushed into each other.
I mean, you'd think you'd
You know.
feel that.
No. Why would you do that? Why? Just no. No thinking time. Only merging. I thought they might like merge and make a bigger car, like a fusion, just kind of like fuse together and then like, whoa, an 8-wheeled car.
But not like a Ford Fusion, like
No.
Chimera
no.
Fusion.
Night Owl says happy almost anniversary and posts the Depp running on speed clip.
Yes, yeah, that was a year ago yesterday, right?
Good lord.
Gotta be careful. They're fast. Alright.
Let's just just shoot people with a suppressor? Yeah. That's what happens. You shoot people with your rubber 308 and they just
Out
fall
of the
down.
plastic suppressor. And they just have a nap eventually.
Here's what would really happen. If you're running rubber bullets at rifle pressures through a plastic suppressor, the rubber would hit the baffles of that suppressor, and then the suppressor would leave. It would shear off and leave, and you would shoot them with a suppressor. And you'd be like, wow, this is non-lethal, as he has a suppressor hanging out of him, jetting blood. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. I'm sure they're bitching about people leaving by balloon or whatever, but I don't care.
Well, I mean, you're here doing balloon tricks. You're practically a clown.
Please select a drop point.
Let off some steam, Bennett. Pretty much. So you're just here to fuck these guys up.
Well, I'm here to
walking
rescue
around
a
this-
prisoner, but I alarmed the interpreter that I was supposed to follow to the prisoner. So I put
You
him in the
startled
back of
them.
the truck. Yeah, I startled him with rubber bullets to somebody pretty far away from him. I was surprised that he heard it. The RPK's ready.
Oh, excellent. The guy's like, where'd that box come from? And you're like, none ya.
Development complete.
None yet. Fucking business, jackass.
I need a rubber bullet FAL. Why? Is this like the next level of airsoft?
I don't know. None of those people can afford simunition. God, they're expensive.
Simunitions hurt.
Yeah, they really hurt.
It's like getting shot with a bullet, but made of not bullet. Made of different bullet. Legally distinct, but separate from bullet.
Yeah.
Turns out by using powder to accelerate things, they stay very accelerated. Almost bullet. Son of bullet.
Now, UTMs are a little bit nicer. Those are the Universal Training Munition, which is like a 5mm plastic bullet that has a little bit of paint suspended inside a tiny paintball. Those are very low velocity. So, you know, outside of probably 20 yards, you start having accuracy issues. But for, you know, close-in stuff where simunitions becomes dangerous, they're pretty good, actually. They still hurt like a son of a bitch. They leave welts. You gotta wear neck protection, because otherwise somebody will catch you in the parotid and you'll fucking bleed out. But you put on some
Pellets
heavy
and stuff
clothes
hurt.
and- yeah.
Okay, we are, I think, about 7-8 minutes away. 7-8
From-
minutes away from 204.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll happen.
Short.
that'll happen. Our really fun and very strange
Error.
failing. Yeah, it's you know, and we've never corrected it. We've just been like,
I've never tried.
That's-
Frankly, I'm kind of
it's-
afraid to.
well, it's two. Yeah, we're just like, oh, it's 204. Why correct something that's become a hallmark of the broadcast?
It got 204 got a Twitch icon before I did.
That's how you know we have the right community.
It's strange that all of these chin straps fail when they go airborne.
They're not air rated.
Oh, yeah. These aren't the SADF parachutist helmets. You're right.
They're not rated for the airstream of the upgo.
Outpost captured.
Ah, that's everybody. Wait, no, it's not. There's a guy over there.
I was inactive for long enough that Discord moved me. It was like, you're not doing things in Discord. And I'm like, how dare you?
I wondered what happened. I didn't get any notification that you'd left the channel. You just went quiet.
Sometimes I do that. I'm just lost in thought or furious repose.
Well, yeah. So I didn't think anything of it because, you know, it's you.
It happens. Let's just steal things.
Yep.
That's what we're gonna.
Anything that
Now,
isn't
how much?
nailed down.
Yeah, it's the Cargonia doctrine. Now, here's my question. It appears that the enemy has sent about a platoon force of guys into about a click by click area, right?
Yeah.
People start disappearing, and you see multiple passes of an aircraft snagging people dangling from balloons.
This C-130 is just doing like a fucking racetrack, like it's
Yeah, he's waiting for a touch and go, just going round and round and round.
what? There we go. Yeah. No, he's doing a racetrack pattern like he's crop dusting.
Yeah, why
Every
not?
time he gets one pass done, there's 2 more balloons up.
So he just keeps going round and round and round, round and round and round, round and round and round, keeps grabbing people that are just floating up there, dangling arms and dangling legs. Lack of purpose.
Maybe
They
the
have
little
no
old
idea.
lady that runs Depp's internet will allow us to have more internet today. You don't know the half of it, brother.
You gotta call that lady. I'm gonna be like, Gladys, please. I am streaming to dozens of people, Gladys.
Dozens.
Please. Dozens.
I'm
And
a YouTube, Twitch micro celebrity.
I am a celebrity of the moment, and I require
God,
7
those
internet,
words sounded
please.
dirty even to say in
They
jest.
do. They do. It's kind of like how people talk about their brand. They're like, "That's my brand," and I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, but everyone's replaceable.
Yes.
Take that mortar. Take
Hold
that
on,
mortar
hold
right
on.
now. Oh, you got to take this guy who's trying to investigate where everyone went."
Yeah, he's like, where all my friends at?
Imagine if you go check. Imagine if you go check like Mother Base. You've shot all these people with 308 caliber fucking rubber bullets.
Uh-huh.
So you go to Mother Base and everyone looks like they have a bunch of marbles under their skin from all the welts because you've shot for the face naturally.
Yeah, yeah.
They all have short and long-term memory loss. They're drooling, and you walk up and you beat the shit out of them as reward.
Hey, you like being in my army? What about now?
My name is Marble Face Johnson. Oh,
I
there goes
destroyed
that helmet.
Fucking everything.
Yeah, well, they shouldn't have had stuff.
I blew up their radio. I blew up their long-term comms as well.
Oh yeah, now salute Marble Face.
We are
Marble
all
Face
Marble
Johnson.
Face Johnson here.
His name was Marble Face Johnson.
In grievous bodily injury from a supervisor, he earned his name.
Now, here's my questions. Do you think that they
Shouldn't have
feign
woken
being...
up, brother.
Yeah, that's true. But do you think that they feign being hurt? Like, just to make boss happy? They're like, oh, good one.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. They're
Ju-
faking it.
Just to avoid, like, unpleasant human interaction.
Isn't a very good checkpoint. You guys have no control over what vehicles move through this area.
At least get, you know, like, I don't know, one of them little arm turnstiles, or, you know, like a bush. Like, you could put a bush in the middle of the road. You know, you could, some road cones. A wheelbarrow, perhaps, filled with rocks.
Yeah, like anything to control the movement of vehicles through your checkpoint or people.
Yeah,
people.
you could just have you could just have a wheelbarrow full of rocks, and it drags like a little accordion of concertina behind it. You just move it across the road, and it's anchored on one end.
Yeah.
Simple, you know.
Boom. Checkpoint.
Checkpoint.
It's not going to be a very difficult checkpoint to dismantle once the enemy shows up and burns you to death. But checkpoint.
10 seconds till 2:04. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
seconds?
Everybody go get a
We'll
beverage.
see you guys
if it
on
happens.
the far side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go get a beverage while we wait. Don't worry.
You shut up. I'll get to you later. Hey! Whatever happened to good old-fashioned mines? Oh, you mean the explodey kind or the black lung kind? Dozens of people. At least 122? I don't know. I've got OBS up because it likes to have errors, and it covers the Twitch data, so I don't actually ever know how many people. Alright,
Has been updated.
that looks like the target.
Has been updated. The map has
Go ahead and
I return. Has the game returned?
yeah, the game has returned.
What?
The game is here. The dog's excited. He's running in a circle around the Jeep because the Jeep's full.
When it came back, it said this game is intended for certain audiences. I don't know what that means. Is that the way of them calling us special?
Probably.
You know, they're just like, these are special boys. That's
Yeah.
what they want for us.
But connecting to chat. Oh, stretch.
Oh, we got a stretch?
Yeah.
So these people in the back going for a ride, are you going to take them somewhere, or are you going to just beat them to death?
Well, this on my right here, this guy with the noodly neck, that's my target.
Noodle Neck Johnson, as opposed to Marble Face Johnson.
Yeah, the guy behind the driver here, he's the interpreter, and the guy on the passenger side, he's the interrogator. So I've got the whole party's here. They're all gonna have to ride in the same C-130.
Right. So you've got to grab all these fuckers, and you
Yeah.
have to take them to a thing.
Yeah, yeah. Got to take him for a ride.
Well, why not? Why not just take them for a ride? They'll be fine. Right?
No, there's still people in that building.
How many?
Oh no, the intel team spotted them after I did. Thank you. Man, how useful is it to have 75 people assigned to intelligence,
Analysis.
and I'm the one that spots the bad guys?
Analysis.
Well, I mean, you've got a lot of intelligent people to tell you those are the bad guys.
Ah,
Isn't
mission
that the
complete.
point? Oh.
Bulk shipping, yes, those are some good troops. Yeah, if I was
Yeah.
on patrol, I wouldn't be fucking sprinting through marsh.
Enemy
I wouldn't either. I'd be like, wow,
I can now
that seems...
I can now modify the weather, but I cannot yet modify firearms.
I can change the weather, but not guns. That's like saying I can change my pants, but I can't remove my belt.
I think we may have skipped side off. Fucking take care of. That doesn't seem like OSHA approved lifting. What, you mean the magnet on the side of the truck? Well, 3 people in a truck with no seatbelts rise with it?
I think they'll be okay.
Anti-government United rebels to the state-backed MPLA. He hid this from the Afrikaners, but once he thought the jig was up, he tried to pin it on the other British personnel and take off. The Afrikaners
You know who we need? We need Thief Taker Stovall.
and only him.
Fellas, do you like balloons? Honks eye patch.
May have to be extra.
Oh, that is a horrible mental image. That is a horrible, horrible mental image.
Okay,
I
but
hate
does
that.
he reach up and actually physically honk the eye patch with like his hand? Or does he just squeeze his face and that's enough to make the squeak noise?
Please don't say these words and never say them again.
The thief taker general, Stovall.
Stovall was awesome.
Yeah, we'll have to go
He-
back to that at some point.
I just thought it was hilarious because we were like, we ain't firing Stovall. Stovall's gonna kick everyone's ass.
Yeah, no, Stovall never failed me. It was wonderful. Everybody else is like, oh, I ran a child over on the way to work in my squad car. I can't come in today.
Yeah, and Stovall was like, I broke the backs of the enemies of the department. Send me more souls to become vigilant against in my ongoing crusade of duty and honor. And you're like, Stovall, you're a badass.
Yeah, Stovall like walks in, grabs a coffee. He's like, oh yeah, I handled that SWAT call.
By himself with a 38. He just walked in and just surreoed everyone.
Stovall the Stone Wall. Yes, we will follow Stovall into the pits of hell.
Space Marine Stovall. Battle Brother.
detected.
Oh no,
Map has been updated.
we have a truck. Everyone knows that reaction to ambush in a vehicle is to stop the vehicle and get out.
Stop the vehicle. Make sure they haven't destroyed anything expensive like the tires.
I can't believe that works. That is so fucking stupid.
Shoot vehicle. Watch them stand and stare.
Yeah, this truck is mine now. Thank you. So the reason I have stopped being picky about who I'm picking up is I'm about to fire everybody that speaks a certain language.
Oh, that's right, because Quiet has done something, isn't it? Like,
Oh, no, it's
Quiet.
not quiet, it's Skullface.
oh, Skullface.
Yeah. Skullface unleashed the language virus on the world. That's what the lung people were in the oil pit. You know, the oil water mixing pit at the bottom of the oil separator in the processing facility.
That sounds like made up. That sounds like something a DM would say if he was trying to explain his
Have you had
world
no
and didn't have
concept of how oil processing works?
You know, it's oil processing is pretty amazing. You just got to spin off. Typically these days, especially with shale, you know, you spin off all the heavy stuff that still has sand in it, and then once you've done that, basically off she goes to the catalytic cracking unit, and you use Mr. Heat to make the oil separate into the things you want versus the things you really could do without.
Yeah. Where's he hiding? Yeah. Where is he hiding?
Where are you hiding? I'm going to come get you. Wow, that is a lot of holy shit.
That's a lot of explosives in that grenade. Were they? I don't think they were quite that concussive.
Well, I'm sure that Snack has had his people do the
Oh
thing.
yeah, it's pure nitroglycerin just sloshing around in there.
Good God, why?
Being updated.
There's things you don't do, and that's one of them.
Development complete.
There's not even anything in your fucking tent. Why do you set it up? Why would you set up a tent to put a file cabinet in it?
You know, you gotta have your filing cabinet so you can do your stuff in the tent. You gotta keep your tent, gotta do
That's-
your tent math.
That's how I know this organization's supposed to be executive outcomes, is they do very British shit like that.
Development
Well, I have to have my roll-top desk, you know.
Campaign furniture, it's made to be easily portable, he says, as 8 foreign nationals lifted into the back of a fucking, you know, Canadian Ford.
I say.
development complete.
Out, they all woke back up.
Oh dear.
Well, that's a shame.
Development complete.
I forgot the drop on this is rather excessive. There we go.
Development complete.
Yeah. Perfect. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
2 filing cabinets and 2 cots. Clearly that's enlisted quarters. And this thing burns people up. There's no shrapnel wounds, there's no like torn anything, it's just burnt. Head to toe, black as burnt toast.
Very effective. What?
Alright, now that I've ruined their day. Give me the helicopter.
Please select support helicopter.
Give me some of that good old pickup. Pick 'em up. Pick me up. Essentially weaponized mitochondria that has been trained to flourish and reproduce in the presence of a specific language.
Extraction arrived
Yes,
at
that
Mother Base.
sounds like the explanation that I ignored.
I heard those words that came out of your mouth. I heard them in my head. And then I decided that I didn't need to hear them, right? I was like, no thanks. No.
These men
we
waste a
won't be-
tent on the file cabinet. Fires grenade.
Yes. And I hate it. Ah, yes. The music.
Do we have anything in white phosphorus? I don't know yet. Some dude trying to fly his little plane, dodging bodies and trucks and guns. Hawk MM1. I don't believe that's in the mod, no. So Kojima stole the Parasite Eve thing? I guess. I never played it.
I know friends who were very big into it once, that series, but
Nice hiss, Mr. Tech, says Tal to Neil. To Eel.
nice hiss.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Gotta open them hisses.
An MM1 with Willie Pete for a winning combination.
Well, why wouldn't you have a little bit of,
I mean, the normal frag already causes just horrendous burns. Again, from head to toe. There's no
Head to
like,
toe.
oh, you just burned my arm. It's just, no, you're made of cellulose.
Can you meet me at her cell here on the base?
There we go.
Please
Yeah.
select a landing zone.
Need to return to Metal Base.
Heading to Mother Base.
Metal Base.
Gotta
Egg
head
Act
to-
the Oil Spider.
Well, I mean, come on. Oil spiders, man. Why wouldn't you, the spiders of oil? Right? It sounds like something Kojima would do.
Yeah, that does sound like something he would do. Oh no, Mother Base is turned against you. It's a giant anthropomorphic spider with rockets for legs.
Snake, you made the metal spider.
You have to fight it with flashbangs from this grenade or from this helicopter that's currently on fire. Oh, Snake, you did it. You're the best waifu, soldier I ever could ask for.
But first, you have to watch this kid make an egg for 45 minutes.
Man, you're really on that egg thing.
It
That does
really
sound
made me.
perfect.
It does make me mad.
Well, no, because her learning how to cook an egg is like indicative of us learning how the game works and the horrors of the war that we're in. And I don't.
Look, I'm just mad that there's a kid using a metal spatula to flip an egg on a metal pan. Like, don't do that.
I mean,
You're ruining it.
no, on something like cast iron, that's fine. But yeah, I don't like Teflon with my eggs. Please use plastic on Teflon. Thank you.
Please. Please and thank you.
Hey, brother. Did you know 308 doesn't kill you at this range?
I am horrified that you're doing that to this guy and he's still conscious enough to scream. What is that sound?
That's the sound of pain. Wake up. No sleeping on duty.
No sleep. Only snack.
Man, keep out, freak. Why did we print posters for her that say keep out and have her little, like, chibi image on it?
Why in the fuck do you guys have a PR office and this is all they do?
Where's my shower? One of you's supposed to have a shower for me. You've got it.
That sounds horrible.
It was physically and mentally refreshed by that.
I love how it makes the rocket sound, so when you punch the person, you feel better.
Yeah, indeed. Those pain slap yelps sound like a Simpsons character getting pimp slapped.
Yup.
Man, there we go, staff morale increase. Thank you, boss. Oh, there's a ladder down. You guys could have just told me where the ladder was. I'd be trying to swim home if that was my guard routine.
Yeah, wait for your boss to come by and judo chop your neck. Cool.
The last staff member who tried to dress her, breathing through tubes.
Can
Other than that,
oh, no.
she's completely cooperative. She understands English. She never speaks, sweats, or breathes. What? Well, not with lungs, at least. She breathes through her skin.
Yeah, we have to watch this to get her as a companion.
It seems like somebody, like, okay, Kojima probably wrote, what if we had this girl walking around skimpy, like, you know? Yeah? You know, just, Kojima wrote that,
She's
and they were
breathing
like,
and drinking through her boots.
why not?
You know,
So
that's-
imagine, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, he writes all this thing, like, she does this weird nonsense. Oh my god.
Yep, it just keeps fucking going.
She's a mop. I just want to scream. I can. It'll peak the audio, but
If only he had the balls to be like Suda51 and go, I just like girls.
yeah, like why if you go I like girls and I want to put them in my movies and I want to make them look like bombshells, I think everyone would be like, "Okay. I know plenty of chicks who like other chicks." They'd be like, "Yeah, sure. Give us some candy."
Wake up, Snake. It's time for your mandatory 4 o'clock fetish break. Okay.
Can't you send her on a mission? By herself? No. But as you know, she does have skill. Why not take her out on one of your missions? She seems to like
Hey, boss. She's tried to kill you like 8 times, and you set her on fire and pushed her out of a fucking window, so now she doesn't have lungs.
keep her in mind.
You should take her with you. Okay.
She seems trustworthy.
Completed.
She has no reason to trust you. Anyways, good luck.
Alright, there we go. Stupidity over. We can get back to abusing my employees. Is my number one goal here.
Well, of course. Why not?
A bruised workplace is a happy workplace.
Please select a landing zone. Landing zone complete.
And enter the music. Why does Pequod have to scream in the stealth helicopter? That's not very stealthy.
Yeah, if they just made her skin green, the plant girl thing would have gone down better.
Yeah, you're
I
not
mean,
you're not
that's-
wrong.
What they did for the end, he had the mottled green skin, and it would have been like, oh yeah, okay, he's... I thought those were tattoos, but sure, he's photosynthetic.
Photosynthetic Gary. Marble Face Johnson.
You did this to her. Look at the boobies and feel bad. Yeah, he keeps pushing that in my face, even though I'm not the one that did that. It was real Snake. I mean, Ishmael.
Is it? Here's the thing though. Like she doesn't look bad for someone who's been set on fire.
I don't only recruit masochists, I make them this way. They have to agree to this in their contract before they're released from the brig.
So you're like, hey, I'm gonna beat you against the wall. And they're like, I guess.
Oh hey, we got parachute wings.
like you've gotten used
Yeah.
see a problem with giving her some new weapons. I've already talked it over with the R&D team.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I guess. If you must. Whatever.
Unit function added.
I just showed up, and the first thing I hear is look at the boobies and feel bad. What happened? Quiet. Quiet happened.
Quiet happened, and we're talking about how you don't have to feel awkward for putting, like, eye candy in film. I've done it in Tex Talks Battletech. Everyone likes a little cake, you know?
Knights
I mean,
XM9 Beretta? Sure.
Sure, why not? It's not a problem putting stuff like that in film. It just has to have a purpose, and then you have to actually not be weird about it. You're like, hey, there's a reason for it there. There's the thing. Okay, you nod at it, and then you move on to the next thing. You just can't have it like focus in on feet for 3 hours. I'm looking at you, Tarantino. That's where it's too much. You're like, I've seen this part. Move on. Move on.
Okay, we need buddy equipment. Yes. I don't care about the robot.
You need robot.
We've already got.
It's called Metal Gear Solid, not Guy Abducts People. Actually, I'd play a game called Guy Who Abducts People. That sounds kind of neat.
That does sound kind of neat.
It sounds kind of neat. I'd play that.
Okay. So I can't actually develop anything for her because reasons.
Please specify a project.
I want to.
Please specify a project.
But when it comes down to a game, like, you can, again, there's no sin in putting eye candy in it. Everybody likes eye candy.
Yeah, if that's what you
just-
want to do, then do it.
But do it right and admit that's what it is.
Oh fuck! I
Don't
got a
try to
money.
act like it's deep.
That's why. Yeah.
You're out of money?
Yeah, because it disconnected me from the internet and from my reserve of cash from the last game I played.
Oh, I see. So your international accounts got seized. Just like
Briefly.
executive outcomes.
Briefly.
Just like executive outcomes. And I love that our unit's name is Fire.
Yeah, we should probably update that.
Come on, that's a Beavis and Butthead reference.
Specify
Fire.
a project.
Fire. Fire.
Oh, hey, I can
Fire.
put a flamethrower on the robot? Fuck yeah, I want a flamethrower on the robot.
I want something that doesn't feel that causes something that makes people feel bad.
Now, we gotta be bond level 20 with her. And we're bond level 2, so we gotta take her on some missions.
What is a bond level?
Well, you know, like Bond Girl, but level.
Oh,
I don't know what
so
I'm
like
talking about.
neither do I. I'm confused.
And we still haven't developed more armor is better than less armor. So let's,
More armor, better.
Yeah, better, much better.
Commencing platform construction. Commencing platform construction.
Commencing platform construction.
Commencing platform construction.
Are we building more parts to the giant octopi?
Commencing
Yes, we are.
platform construction.
Alright. What's the time? 6:33. Gonna be close. Do we have time for another mission?
If we're quick, we do. We have time.
We're not
If we're
quick.
quick. We're not, no. We're actually fairly dumb.
Or do we design our new emblem because we have?
Oh, let's
got new
design. Let's do
parts.
some art. Let's do some art. Let's be artistic.
No, that's I hit the wrong button. It's the avatar.
Oh,
It's
wait.
gonna be my ugly
Autistic.
face. Yeah, there we go. I forgot we did that. Yeah.
You know, if you saw that person and you're like, this person's wanted for crime, you're like, yup. You wouldn't even ask for a jury. You'd just be like, uh-huh.
So yes,
I would.
the oil spider started out as a single dare.
But now it's a very advanced oil spider.
There we go. The emblem. All right. Beeple art time.
All right, let's see.
Let's
Yeah.
figure out what our words are gonna be.
What's he wanted for? Yep.
We've
Let's
got
see.
armaments, arsenal, battle, blaster.
Okay, let's
blue
do
boy.
battle. Let's do battle.
All right.
Battle needs to be in there so people know we're like serious and about war and stuff.
Hey, battle, secure your shit. I already get in trouble.
Battle, right? And then we need some animal under it. So it's like battle llama, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Iron Phoenix and Blaster Brown.
Yeah, we got brown camp.
You know what? If only we had a picture of an ass, it would be Blaster Brown.
We might actually have a donkey.
All right, you know what? I think we know what childish thing we need to do now. All right, here we go. Yeah, yeah. Come on, we deep down we all have the maturity of someone in the 8th grade. Blaster Brown. It sounds like a series of novels, like a Blaster Brown adventure. All right, what do we got?
Oh, we haven't unlocked the donkey. All we've got is a sheep.
Let's put that on there.
Hold on.
Oh, wait. No.
Doberman? No, Doberman is
No.
way too cool.
What else we got? Too bad we can't do 2 logos and have like fire coming out of a unicorn's ass.
Caution, rain approaching.
Oh no, rain? Hey, let's put a silhouette. Let's put a silhouette of our leader on there for no reason. So like, who did this? I don't know.
Well,
Let's
do we
see what
like
else
that
we
one
got.
or do we like that one?
Yeah, that one's better. That's stylistic. I like it. What are these logos? Okay, the one to the left, that one looks like the Well Actually face. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's like the Well Actually pushing the glasses up. Blaster Brown in Welcome to Pound Town, Part 7. There we go.
Or do we
May-
want to go for...
I hate this. All right, there we go.
All right. Blaster
Closer
Brown.
to the heart.
That used up 4 minutes. Okay.
Blaster Actually Brown.
All right. The last item in the emblem is a toilet seat. Oh, you mean the horseshoe? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. What about it?
we should use the toilet seat. I think that would make this complete. There we go. You know what? Blaster Brown, remove the logo in front of it. Just leave the toilet seat.
Okay.
People be like, is that a horseshoe? And you're like, no. There we go. It looks like something that you'd hang over a toilet. This is a bad call sign. This is beautiful.
Yep, there we go. Blaster Brown.
Welcome to Blaster Brown's big old wide house of bargains. Toilets closed. Shitter's full.
Back blast area clear.
Yeah, back blast clear. Oof. This is the content you guys wanted.
Blaster Brown, I barely know her. God damn it.
Don't worry about it. I wouldn't.
Yep.
Fecal funny.
Yep. All right. Well, on that, we should probably ditch because we don't want to run over into Cooking on the Rim.
Cooking on the Rim up with Quish. Rim World done by someone who does it right.
Yeah, we don't do it right. I don't.
We
anyway.
don't. Wait, no. If you watched us play RimWorld, you'd be like, what the fuck is Uranium Jail? And I'm like, well, it's not great, but it's not terrible.
The Void.
The Void!
Yeah. All right. We will catch you all later.
All right. See you guys later, and thanks for tuning in.